Servos are really cool, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to rotate each direction with just one line of code. Let's Props 88 this. Hey guys, welcome back to Props 88. Like promised, I'm going to show you how to take a servo with just 3 commands. So here's our servo, what we're going to do today. Here's our little servo. I'll leave links for the description for all this. Servo we're going to use, this is a 360 servo, rotating, continuous 360. And we're going to have a combination of buttons so I can show you a couple different approaches. We have 2 push buttons and a touch point button. And those will be to do, we're going to do stop, clockwise, and counterclockwise. And all with one line of code for each direction. Here's 1, 2, and 3. So we have stop, clockwise, counterclockwise. And let's get into the code.
Welcome to the code, guys. First thing we need to do is include 2 includes. Servo is the number 1, and then easy button, which I'm going to explain a little bit later, number 2, for this demo that we're doing. Next thing we have to do is the servo pin is pin 13, and I have 3 buttons. The stop button is pin 2, the clockwise button is pin 3, and the counterclockwise is pin 4. Now I'm just going to ignore this other stuff. Let's go right back down to setup. We do our initialization. Like you see, we're going to set the servo pin as an output. We're going to attach the servo pin, and then we'll have our normal initialize the button, whether they're inputs or outputs. I'm going to show you, go back to this in a second. But the most important thing that we have to do in the setup is these 2. This is our, this sets the initial servo position. It's just recommended, but it does help. I don't know why, but it does. And then we're going to send this servo command to stop, just so the servo doesn't move. In our main loop, very simple. We're going to check each button, whether it's a clockwise button, or is it a counterclockwise button, or a stop button. That's it. That's the only code you have to worry about. I made it nice and simple. Like again, I'm not here to teach you Arduino code. I'm here to make your life simple. So you can just take this code, copy and paste, throw it into your project, and you have instant gratification and get working. Sometimes we don't need to learn everything to code. We need the answers. Then we'll learn the code later. So that's what I've done for you guys. So, and then that's all it is. So we're testing the button state. I'll do this one first. The clockwise button here, counterclockwise over here, and the stop button over here. We're testing each one. Now remember, I said that the clockwise button is the touch button that we have. And that has everything built into it. It has a deep bouncing, it has resistors, everything that you need to do, and it works flawlessly. Now for a regular push button, which you see I have the stop button and the counterclockwise button, we use this library, which right here, this easy button, and this just basically, we create 2 objects, stop button and a counterclockwise button. And all they do is debounce the code for us, so we don't have to worry and get more code to debounce each button. This kind of makes it simple. Anyway, and basically initialization for this button is we just set a timeout at 75 milliseconds. You can increase that, but that seems to be a good solid value. And anyway, and then you just add these 2 other buttons, the stop and the counterclockwise to the loop, and then you test every single one. For example, our touch button right here is a touch button. I'm going to check to see if it's pressed. If it is, I'm going to make the servo go clockwise. Now the momentary button, which is the counterclockwise button, if that's pressed, I'm going to send it a counterclockwise function. And the last button, stop button, if it is pressed, I'm going to send it a command stop button. Very simple. I don't know how to make it any easier than that. So it's pretty straightforward. Now we're going to go to the video of action. Okay, so that'll take care for the code, and like I said, all Patreon members, all this code's available for free. The functions are down below, but you'll see that in the code when you download it. Okay, off to the live demo.
We got our little servo. Orientation is this way. It labels on top. We have a push button here, momentary. We have our stop button. We have our counterclockwise button and our clockwise button. and our little Arduino Nano. So we're going to use this. It's a lot easier to put something on it so you can see it spin. This is from one of our Star Wars videos. And we're going to just stick him in. I glued this to the bottom of this as a gear, and it goes right onto the threads like this. I'm just going to push it on. That way, nice tight fit. So that way you'll get to see that spin. I'll put it right there. Okay, first thing to do is there's 3 cables, 3 wires coming off the servo. And we have, in this case, ground, 5 volts, and then the signal. It's just 3 wires, so black, red, white. And they're going to go to, the white is going to, we use pin 13. You'll see on the Arduino Nano. Pin 13 is right there. Then we have the ground and our 5 volts. Pin 13, then power and ground. Okay, that'll take care of the servo. That's how simple the servo is to hook up. So he's all set up. Now we'll get into the buttons here. Oh, gotta get a head start of me. What's this? Clockwise now. Remember I was telling you about the touch point? Now I can take this off here. Touch point, little touch. I'll leave a link in the description for those either. He has all the little circuitry in here, if you see in the back, of resistors and the debouncing I was telling you earlier about. And right now it's spinning, but I'm going to press the stop button. So as soon as I touch this, I don't have to worry about any debouncing. I just test the pin number if it's high or low, just like that. You see it kicks in. Now to stop it, I'll press the stop button. So what is this connected to? This is just connected to a pin on the Arduino, like you saw in the code, and then you have 5 volts and the ground. That's it. And we have all the pins on the other side. I'm using pins. This is another, the thing about the touch point is I just hit it, so it goes off. Let's make him, you stay right here, pal. All right, let's stop this. There we go. Now, on the other side of the Arduino, I'm using the ground right here as an extra ground. And then I have pins 2, 3, and 4. There we go. 2, 3, and 4. And each one of these pins, one goes to clockwise, one goes to counterclockwise, and one goes to the stop. That's all it is. And the other side of obviously the other side goes to ground. So one goes to the pin, and the other wire goes to the ground. But in the case of the touch point, he gets a data one. He gets a ground, 5 volts, and a data one. And just like the servo does, because it's a touch point. And anyway, so now we can actually test how simple it is. We go to clockwise. You'll see him spinning. We'll press the stop button over here. He stops. I'll do that again. Go to clockwise. Then I'll press the stop button. See him stopping. Now counterclockwise. Boom. How simple is that? And we'll go back to stop again. That's it. So basically for this whole circuit, we're using 2 grounds, 5 volts, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 pins on the Arduino. That's it. So we're using 2, 3, 4 for the momentary and the clockwise, the touch point buttons. And pin 13 is just going to our little servo. That's all it is. And with the code I created and you guys can use, you can control anything. As you saw before, we created our, in our other video, I'll leave a link in the description before, you'll see our R2D2 panel that we created, little servo. But if you have any questions, guys, leave them in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this little servo demo. And thanks again for watching. The code will be in the Patreon website with the link below. Okay? Thanks, guys, for watching.